Brother lads, welcome back to the Cossy podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is the latest Arsenal news and transfer news as well. Benjamin Sesko has agreed personal terms with Arsenal. He's set to be the next striker that arrives at the Emirates Stadium, and he's also set to be the first signing that comes in at Arsenal if nothing changes. Now, Arsenal just need to agree a price between them and RB Leipzig. Could be around 45 million to 55 million pounds as the information that we are getting. So, in this video, we dive into the personal terms. What exactly does Benjamin Sesko expect from this Arsenal side? What do we expect from Benjamin Sesko's camp at the moment? He's just turning 21 today. Is he expecting to start? Do we expect him to be a second striker in the same lineup with Kai Havertz? What exactly are we going to see in terms of changes? But also, how does he compare to the players already at Arsenal, and how does he compare to the players that we have been linked with? Now, I've done a very credible video with Glenn. Is coming out today at exactly 9 p.m. and we've been talking about the Benjamin Sesko comparison. So again, make sure you do watch that video because it has a lot of information. We'll also talk about Alexander Zinchenko in this video because Bayern Munich are still pushing and they're watching the progress of the deal for Alexander Zinchenko, especially should Arsenal sign a left back. Alexander Zinchenko will be on his way to Bayern. Now, for me, with Vicente Kompany going there and the way we know he loves to play and he loves to set up, Alexander Zinchenko's move to Bayern is now a very, very serious likelihood. Hit the like button, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Let's get this video to 500 likes, and please, let's get this channel to 80,000 subscribers. We need to have the biggest community in Africa when it comes to Arsenal, and this is our biggest community. Let's make it happen. Let's get it to 80,000 subscribers. Now, let's start off with the Benjamin Sesko story. Personal terms have been agreed as reported from credible sources yesterday. The players already say to the project, at Arsenal, and it's just waiting for Arsenal and RB Leipzig to find an agreement between the both of them. Now, listen. The personal terms were never going to be a problem when it came to Sesko and Arsenal. I think the big decision that Arsenal have been waiting for, and Fabrizio told us that it was coming very, very soon, and that information was also relayed by Charles Watts, that the camp of Benjamin Sesko, they wanted some time, and they were always going to announce their decision before the Euros. Now, the decision has not been publicly announced, but they have accepted to join Arsenal over any other player, any other teams, in Europe, any other, teams in Saudi Arabia, but also over staying at RB Leipzig. I want to explain what this stage means very carefully. Now, this doesn't mean that another club cannot sign Sesko. This doesn't mean that Leipzig cannot keep him beyond this summer. It's about negotiation, and it's about the power you have in terms of convincing the player on your project. So far, so good. Arsenal have done it. We have talked to the player. We have given him what we think his role would be in our project, how much we want to give him, and exactly where he fits into the plan and the project. And his entourage and his advisors have said, hey, this is a good deal. How about you consider it? And Sesko has said, I will consider it. Now, he was doing an interview with the Slovenian national team when he was asked about the Arsenal transfer deal, and he said it would be a dream come true for me to go and play for Arsenal, especially in the Premier League. So when you think about that, Arsenal in the Premier League, Arsenal in the Champions League, Arsenal could be champions this season, or could have been champions this season, or could be champions next season. There's a huge possibility that he was always going to choose the Arsenal project over Chelsea, over Man United, over all these other projects, including Tottenham Hotspur, because there is no project at the moment that beats Arsenal in terms of the projects that we have seen that are yet to get to the levels of winning, right? I think they're better projects. I think the Real Madrid project is a better project than that of Arsenal, but Real Madrid projects is incredible. They've already started winning things. The Man City project has been there for years, and I think it's a much better project than Arsenal's. But in terms of young projects and projects that are just springing up, I think Arsenal have the best project, right? So personal terms have been agreed. We don't know how much he's going to be earning. We don't know, what exactly is entailed in terms of financials and also in terms of promises. But this is what I think has gone down. I think Arsenal have told Ben Sesko, you come in at 21 and you are going to have a big shot at starting for Arsenal this summer, next season, and the seasons to come. And the reason for that is Arsenal are still looking for a reliable outlet for goals. Arsenal are still looking for a very reliable player that can score, a huge number of goals per season. And we're talking 25. We're talking about 30 goals in a campaign. Now he's been linked and not really linked, but I would say compared or likened to Erling Haaland, and his agent has actually talked about it today, and he said, I don't like him being compared to Erling Haaland. Both players have their unique ways, but I think in terms of pace and in terms of those runs in behind, you can compare him to an Erling Haaland. In terms of his finesse and in terms of his finishing, I don't think you can actually compare him to Erling Haaland. I think he's got to improve his game massively in front of goal. But for me, I think Sesko has been told, compare yourself to all the strikers that we have at Arsenal. Are you better than them? And I think his camp are looking at this as a massive opportunity for a young player to go into a club like Arsenal and compete with Gabriel Jesus and compete with Edin Ketia, who might not be at the club next season anyway. So imagine this. Sesko comes in, Edin Ketia leaves. That now puts him as the third choice in terms of Mikel Arteta's striker options. Then Gabriel Jesus, who is injury prone and very inconsistent in front of goal, that is something that Sesko at least beats Gabriel Jesus to. He can finish. He's better than him in front of goal, and is more reliable and durable in terms of being injury free. So when you think about that, it means that Sesko comes in at Arsenal and is straight away our second option. I don't think any player is going to turn down that opportunity for you to be able to push, your way through this Arsenal, this Arsenal forward line at just 21, right? I think it's a very good deal on the player side, but also it's a very good deal on the Arsenal side. I think Sesko is not a player that is going to put massive pressure on Mikel Arteta. Why am I not playing? Why am I just sitting on the bench and all that kind of stuff? I think he is a player who can come in and be okay with 30 minutes of football or 20 minutes of football, per 90. Now, we have seen it at RB Leipzig in his first season. He actually came off the bench a lot of the time in his first part of the season, as compared to his last part of the season. In his last part of the season, started more games together with Openda and Javi Simons, and he had very, very crazy goal contributions in his last 14, 13 games of the campaign. So I think it's a win-win situation, and it was always going to work out. He doesn't have crazy demands at the moment, and I don't think Arsenal have crazy demands. I don't think they're telling him, you're coming in to score goals, you're going to be the difference. I don't think they're telling him that. I think the communication and the message should be, you are actually coming, you're coming in as a player that is going to do much of a supplementary role to what we have in Kai Havertz. Now, also, one of the things that I've actually thought about is what John Cross said yesterday. Arsenal are looking for a player who can work in tandem with Kai Havertz. And working in tandem means, it's pretty much straightforward, working hand in hand. And I think with Sesko, that takes a lot of pressure away from him. Now, of course, he comes to the Premier League, and everyone's going to look at him as the new player who should be a level raiser. And many people saying, he's not the level raiser that Arsenal are looking for. Yes, he's not the level raiser Arsenal are looking for. But in terms of cooperating with Kai Havertz, in terms of sharing the workload with Kai Havertz, in terms of Sesko getting 15 goals and 5 assists, and Kai Havertz getting 15 goals and 5 assists, that is something that I can see happening on a more regular basis as compared to signing one striker and you hoping he's going to bang in 30 goals a campaign. So it's still a smart move from Mikel Arteta. He doesn't trust in the notion that one player should come in and score hundreds of goals for you to win the title. He still believes in his philosophy, a philosophy that he learned from Pep Guardiola. Spread out the goals, let the forward players and let the midfielders have their say and have their impact on goal scoring. And I think you've seen it. Last season, Arsenal scored 88 plus. I think it's around 90 or 89, and then the season before that, still Arsenal scored around 88, right? And we have built one of the best young defenses in the world. So it's not a bad deal after all. How does he compare? That's a very big question. How does he compare to the players we've been linked with and the players that we have at Arsenal? There's a huge discussion with me and Glenn that's coming out at exactly 9 p.m. So you should be able to watch that. But for me, in my opinion, there have been comparisons between him and Erling Haaland. I think in terms of pace, maybe he's quicker than Erling Haaland. There's no question about that. But in terms of profile, someone who's comparing him to Erling Haaland, please, you're making a big mistake. Actually, when you look at his scout report, which we are actually going to look at, in a very interesting video that should be coming out very soon. When you look at his scout report, and you look at the 5 players that he's been compared to, he's compared to Alexander Lacazette, he's compared to Dominic Solanke, he's compared to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. You can see the picture. I don't think that is Erling Haaland, right? I don't think he's is directly comparable to Erling Haaland, but he's still a very good player. So in terms of comparing him to Victor Gyökeres, I would say I would compare Victor Gyökeres to Erling Haaland. So I don't think he compares to Victor Gyökeres. I think in terms of clinical, in terms of being a forward and a number 9, I think Gyökeres is what you would go for. But with Ben Sesko, he's got more to his game than Victor Gyökeres. You're not going to want to hear this because I know most of you like Victor Gyökeres very much, but Sesko has got a lot to his game compared to Victor Gyökeres. I think Gyökeres is a speed merchant. I think he's strong. He can spin in behind. But when I think about the range of goals Sesko scores and the range of goals that Victor Gyökeres scores, I would choose Sesko. When I think about the technical ability and his ability to just help the team, I don't think he's one player that is always going to stay just centrally. I think he can drift a little bit, wide, creating spaces for Saka to maybe get some chances in the penalty area, and also allowing the likes of Odegaard to make those runs in the penalty area, still with Kai Havertz. So I think I'll take Gyökeres over him, but I don't think the comparison is really dreadful. Now, how does he compare to Alexander Isak? That is the real player we've got to compare him to. Now, with Alexander Isak, the advantage and the cheat code he has over him is that he's played in the Premier League and the La Liga, 2 of the world's best leagues, and he has proven that he can actually do it at the big stage with an underdog. Done it with Real Sociedad, done it with Newcastle. Credit to you, bro. Credit to you. You've actually done it. And in terms of speed, I think Alexander Isak runs with purpose. Like, he's a speed merchant, but he runs with purpose, and his finesse is absolutely, spotting. But when we talk about Sesko, and the one point I would have, Sesko over Alexander Isak, and why I would take Sesko over Alexander Isak, it's a very stupid statement for me to say. I think if we have both of them in front of goal, I think it's Sesko who does the job. I think Sesko has been culturally cultivated into a striker's cult, and he has learned the values and principles and norms of the striker fraternity. I think with Alexander Isak, he is your general forward. He's a general forward. He can do a bit of striking, can do a bit of winger, but with Sesko, yes, you can put him out wide, like he can do the job, but in the end, his mind is going to be at the back post. His mind is going to be in between defenders. His mind is going to be running off the shoulders. So I think, again, Sesko over Alexander Isak in terms of finishing and in terms of getting himself into very nice positions. When I compare him to the players at Arsenal, I'm going to compare him to only 2, Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus, because there is no point to compare him to Eddie Nketiah, because Nketiah cannot be compared to himself. And then there's no point to compare him to Kai Havertz, because most sources are saying Arsenal are looking for someone to work in tandem with Kai. So if we are looking for someone to work in tandem with Kai, then I think Sesko it doesn't need to be compared to Kai. He needs to be compared to the players that will actually be playing in the same lineup as Kai Havertz. And that's why I've gone with Gabriel Jesus, and I've also gone with Gabriel Martinelli. The thing with Gabriel Martinelli is he is still one of Arsenal's best finishers, and he's still one of Arsenal's, if not Arsenal's, most direct player. and most deadly player. One of the striker or the forward that other teams don't want to play against. That is Gabriel Martinelli. With Gabriel Jesus, there's so many points why I would never take him over Sesko. In terms of work rate, experience, and technical ability, Jesus is better. But it is the finishing we are looking for. It is why we're investing half 100 million into a new striker. It is the finishing. It is the positioning. And I don't think Gabriel Jesus ever positions himself as a striker. I don't think he's very, good in front of goal as compared to Benjamin Sesko. Right now, Alexander Zinchenko could be heading to Bayern Munich. It's one of the stories that have been there for quite some time, and I think with Vicente Kompany going there now, Bayern are now intensifying their pursuit of Alexander Zinchenko. Now they are being kept updated with whatever happens on that deal, and I think with Alexander Zinchenko, there's a bigger chance if Arsenal sign a left back before the beginning of the season, Alexander Zinchenko will be out of the door. Now, I mean, you guys don't like him? I think he is a quality player. Just defensively, you've got to find a way of covering for him. Hit the like button, guys. Can we get to 80,000 subscribers before the end of June? Please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'll speak to you right in the next one.